20 people, that seems like a war.
Up here.
Me? These set of buildings are probably the oldest domestic buildings in Guildford. Parts of the interiors date back to the 1200s, but what we see on the high street is late Tudor and early Jacobean. The haunted part is this one, number 122. Ah, hello. I'm so sorry I'm shouting tonight. You won't be saying that when I finish. In 1953, this single unit was being converted from the Corona coffee bar, which moved further down the high street, into a ladies' clothing shop. You'll notice it's not the first one this evening, nor will it be the last. As at Clothall, our workmen had a deadline to reach, but unlike Clothall, that deadline was drawing near very quickly. And so they had the bright idea of sleeping on site overnight. It meant they could start work earlier in the mornings and save them the cost of commuting to and from London every day. So for a couple of nights they slept in sleeping bags on the ground floor, and then on the third night something unusual happened. In the early hours of the morning, the workmen were awoken by a sound coming from above their heads, from a room which had actually been bricked up for several decades. The sound of a woman sobbing. Then the sobbing stopped and was replaced with the sound of footsteps. Slow, heavy, limping footsteps encircling the bricked up room above them. And then the footsteps passed straight through the solid wall and out onto the landing. By now the footsteps were so close the workman could also hear the rustling of crinoline skirts. The footsteps got closer and closer and then stopped at the top of the stairs. The workman hardly dared breathe, wondering what was going to happen next. And then the footsteps began again. Slow, heavy, limping footsteps walking down the staircase into the room in which the petrified men stood. Down the staircase they'd taken out the day before. They were quite scared. So the following morning the foreman ordered the bricked up room to be opened. When the workmen got inside they found a Tudor fireplace and a Tudor window. And there was a second bricked up room in the building. And when the workmen got in there they found another Tudor window, and interestingly enough, hidden in the wall cavity, they found the skeletal remains of no less than 8 cats. Rolf Harris was livid! Now it so happens, by auction a couple of years ago, I managed to acquire the actual mummified remains of one of the cats in question. I carry it with me on the ghost tour as an artifact, but of course it is rather grisly. So if you're of a nervous disposition, please turn away now. Just an old saggy cloth cat. Baggy and a bit loose at the seams. So Emily stuffed him in the wall till he died. Unusual, you might think. Well, not really, because it was a very popular omen when constructing a new building to put a cat in the wall cavity to ward off evil spirits. Dead or alive, it didn't matter. If they weren't dead to start with, they soon would be. Many old buildings being converted to this very day are sometimes found with a skeletal or mummified cat inside. To find one is quite usual. But 8! They must have thought there was something very nasty to keep at bay here. In 1985, the hauntings began again. 3 girl students from the Guildford School of Acting were renting the first floor apartment. 2 of the girls shared a larger bedroom, the third had a smaller box room to herself. And late one night, she was awoken by the sound of, you've guessed it, slow, heavy, limping footsteps and the rustling of crinoline skirts. She screamed, her 2 friends came running in to ask what was wrong, but before they had a chance, they too heard the footsteps. And that night they all slept together cosily in the other room. And then a dim blue light began to appear at the top of the stairs, which grew stronger and stronger with each successive night, until it was eventually as strong as a torch beam. The girls, able to bear no more, called in a priest to hold a blessing at the site, and the hauntings stopped. But they could always come back.